The Sentinel, the Santa Cruz Sentinel, was just here a few minutes ago finishing up an interview and a photo shoot of my brake light system, currently called the PBLS, or Progressive Brake Light System. It is a brake light system that shows how much pressure is being applied to the brakes when you're braking. So if you're coming to a sudden stop, more lights turn on. If you're coming just to a mild slowdown for a stop sign, only a few lights go on. Basically, it's to show the people behind you how much pressure you're applying, and then they can stay a safe distance away from you and prevent a fatal rear-end collision or just a mild fender bender. So if you come over here, I can show you what the actual progressive brake light system looks like. This is the progressive brake light system actual device, not including the display. This is the brains of the operation. This is what tells when lights to turn on from the magnetic sensor behind the brakes. So not going to go into too much detail, but basically this large wire right here goes to the LEDs. There's a smaller wire that attaches to the brake light in the back, so that when the actual brake lights turn on, the first stage of the LEDs turn on. So the first stage doesn't listen to the magnetic sensors. Stages 2, 3, 4, and 5 go off of the magnetic sensor. And there's another wire that is connected to the fuse panel behind the car, attached to the turn indicator. So that's where we're getting the power for the device. And here's a fuse that is just to make sure we don't get any wires mixed up, have a short, and have the whole thing destroyed, which is good. And if you come way back here, you can see there's a little tiny sensor, and behind it, or in front of it, the magnet. And so as this gets closer to the magnetic sensor, it tells this to make more LEDs light up. And I can actually give you a demonstration of that right now. Here is the display in the back of the car. You can see here there's a diffuser in front of the LEDs just to prevent, it makes the LEDs more visible in a wider range since they're mainly angled forwards. This can have makes a wider viewing angle, and also makes it a little less bright, because without the diffuser it's very bright. And you can see here this is the first stage, so if you're just mildly touching the brake, and if you apply a little bit more pressure to the brake pedal, you can see that there are going to be more stages coming on. So, a little bit more pressure. See, there's the second stage, and it's just a first line, it's just 2 lines. But if we apply even more pressure, there's going to be the third one. And now there's a second line added. And if you apply even more pressure, and if there's a big time stopping but not quite an emergency, there's the 4th stage right there. And if it's absolutely an emergency and you have to stop and something's coming out in front of the car, you slam on the brakes and the 5th stage comes on right there. And so this way the person behind you sees that all of the LEDs are on. It's almost as if somebody's going stop, and then they can apply their brake in the same fashion and they won't run into you. After nearly 1.5 years of work, I finally finished it. I already have a provisional patent, but I'm currently looking for patent attorneys so I can work on my actual patent and my idea will be saved. My goal is to have this brake light system replace the 3rd brake light in cars. With it in place, hundreds of thousands of lives will be saved and hundreds of thousands of collisions will be prevented.